Hey guys, welcome back to another video. As you can see, I have finally figured out the microphone situation, I hope. Anyway, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like quite literally this week has evaporated into thin air. I honestly don't even remember what I did yesterday.
I hate to break it to you, but that's because you're old and shabby, Miranda.
This week has definitely been a roller coaster of news, and I think that's the problem. My brain has a really hard time processing so much information, clearly. But anyway, as I do every single month, today I'm going to be talking about what is going on in the trucking industry and the trucking market as of September 2022. Ready? Let's go! So what's a video without an announcement? If you haven't read my post yesterday, I have some news. As many of you know, I'm half Ukrainian.
What's the other half? Alien?
Yeah, I was actually kicked out from Mars. But anyway, unfortunately, my Ukrainian is non-existent. I really need to work on that. And my Russian leaves much to be desired. I can read the language and I can speak the language in a very broken manner. I definitely cannot teach in the language. So now we have a second channel that will be led by Rita, and she will cover pretty much the same or similar topics as this channel, but they will be in Russian. And we are working on adding those Ukrainian subtitles as well.
So what about other languages?
La seule autre langue que je parle est le français, mais pas assez bien pour faire les vidéos pédagogiques. Okay, so now that I have thoroughly annoyed you with my intro, let's get back to the video. As always, I start these videos by looking at the fuel prices because this is the single biggest expense for any carrier or owner-operator. Okay guys, as a reminder, 2022, the average diesel prices by month. So as you can see, the lowest again was January, the highest was in June, and now in September, we're pretty much at the same average as in August for diesel prices. So the average price of diesel has not really changed much from August, which is great, at least for now. We will see what happens in the future. Now, speaking of diesel and trucks, I have a fun fact for you. California just proposed a mandate to phase out diesel trucks.
Why is it always California that comes up with crap that is killing this industry?
Yeah, I don't know. But basically, they're proposing a mandate where manufacturers can no longer sell new medium and heavy duty trucks that are fueled by diesel or gasoline for that matter. Only electric trucks. Now, this is a potential proposal that will affect us in the future, but I thought it was interesting to mention right now. Now, back to the board, and we're going to look at the top 5 most expensive states in terms of diesel, and also the 5 top least expensive states when it comes to diesel prices. So the top 5 most expensive states when it comes to diesel prices. Now, side note, don't you love my handwriting? It's so fantastic. It's like chicken scratch. I am so sorry. Anyway, California is of course number 1. What else is new? At $6.31 per gallon on average. Number 2 is Oregon, number 3 is Washington, number 4 is Michigan, and number 5 is Indiana. Now, something you'll realize is I'm comparing this to last month right here. So last month, the first 3 were also the top most expensive states. But last month, New York was number 4, now it's Michigan. Number 5 was Pennsylvania, now it's Indiana. So things are changing. Another thing I want to drag your attention to, even though the average diesel price nationally is the same as in August, in California, it actually increased this month. In Oregon, it decreased, and so did Washington, but California, it's always California. But now let's look at the top 5 least expensive states when it comes to diesel. Of course, number 1 is Texas, the lovely state of Texas that I absolutely adore. In Texas, you can find the most inexpensive diesel, which is awesome, at $4.56. But compared to last month, it actually went up by 5 cents. So something to note. Now, you will see that the states have changed since last month. Now, the second least expensive is Mississippi, then it's Louisiana, Delaware, and Oklahoma. Last month, Oklahoma was number 2, Missouri was number 3, Kansas, and Louisiana. So things are changing, definitely. By the way, something to note, and it's very important to mention it because maybe you didn't read about it yet, Sheetz, if you're in the East Coast, Sheetz is offering diesel for $4.49 cents per gallon. And they're doing this until September 30th in honor of driver appreciation, which is awesome. Now, Sheetz locations are in Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Ohio, Maryland, Virginia, and North Carolina. We have checked them out. It's true. They are selling diesel for $4.49 with or without a fuel card. So something to note. Take advantage of this if you're in the East Coast. Now, of course, expenses are not the only important thing when it comes to profits. The rate per mile is just as important. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to show you our rate per mile and how it has changed, both for the reefers and the dry van. So I hope you guys can see this, but you know what? I'm actually going to make a change here. Okay, much better. $2 per mile, $2.50, blah, blah, blah. So this is our reefer operation. So it starts with August 7th. I'm sure you cannot see this, but this is August 7th, okay? So August 7th compared to now. So as you can see, it is, it's pretty similar, to be honest, to August. It goes up and down, but in general, it is pretty similar for the reefer from August to now. Now let's take a look at the dry van. For the dry van, it's also pretty similar to last month. The peak you see right here and here, these are just outliers. And this is at the end of August, we got very lucky. But in general, we'll see what happens during the rest of September. But in general, it looks like it's pretty much the average compared to August. It's pretty much the same. Now, something I really wanted to show you is the difference between dry vans and reefers right now. So the red lines represent the dry van. The blue lines represent the reefer. And what you can see is more often the dry van gets better rates per mile than the reefer. Not always. Like right here, the reefer did better, but there are moments. All of this is better, right, than the reefer. So something to think about. Now, finally, I want to show you what it looks like compared to the last 3 months. So we're starting here on June 5th all the way until now. Again, the blue line is the reefers, the red line is the dry van. So something that you can see, it looks like it's getting better. Now, does this mean the market is getting better? Well, let's look at the market maps right now, and I'll show you what it looked like in July, August, and now in September for the 3 equipment types, and you decide for yourself. So first we have the dry van. So this is July, this is August, and this is September, right? So in July, the dry van market, it was pretty blue, and the East Coast was doing more or less okay. August was pretty similar to July as well. But now in September, you can see that the West Coast is starting to wake up and the East Coast is starting to die. So this is what the dry van market maps look like. Now let's look at reefers. Again, July, August, September. So in July, again, the East Coast was the place of choice for reefers. In August, it started getting better and it started kind of spreading towards the West Coast. And now it looks like the West Coast is the best place to be if you have a reefer. Pennsylvania, we'll get back to Pennsylvania. It's a hot market, there are a ton of loads, but we'll get into it towards the end of the video. But basically what I'm trying to say is reefers are now doing better in the West Coast. Now let's look at flatbeds. So in July, the market looked pretty good. This area was really, really good. The East Coast, the southern states, the northwestern states were good. The same was in August, although some states started getting better around here, which were previously very cool markets. Now in September, Oregon and Washington are still really good states, and right here is really good for flatbeds as well. Finally, let's go to the DAT trend line, since this is the primary thing I use when looking at what the market has to offer. So there are a couple of things I want to drag your attention to. This is I'm going to look at the week for September 5th through September 11th. So you can see that there are less loads. The load posts went down, but there are also less trucks now. You can also see that the van spot rates increased a little bit, but the flatbed spot rates did not. The reefer spot rates increased a little bit, which is good, but it's 0.3% and 0.1%. Nothing to really celebrate. But this gives you a good idea of what's going on right now. You can also see on the DAT load where the fuel prices went down by 0.6%, which is great. And then, of course, there's this little thing right here, which shows the dry van, the flatbed, and the reefer. Now, as I already said in my last video, these rates, $2.86 for a reefer, this is what they claim is the national spot rates or averages. Yeah, this is not, I don't know where they're getting their information from. This is just not happening. For a dry van, this is not the average, $2.47. For flatbed, I don't know, because again, I do not work with flatbeds. But this gives you a good idea. Of course, on all three equipment types, the trend lines are down, most of all for the flatbed, unfortunately. But this is what it looks like. Okay, so now that we have looked at all the data and all the numbers, I want to talk about my personal experience with the trucking industry in the month of September. First of all, I noticed that the West Coast is becoming a better source of loads for reefers since the beginning of the month. You saw it on the market map. Utah seems to be doing good, as is Washington and Oregon. Another thing I realized is that dry vans can also more comfortably grab loads from the West Coast. A few weeks ago, if you were in a dry van and you got stuck somewhere like Oregon or Washington, well, that was pretty much a death sentence for your profits because you would be stuck there for days. But now I see decent paying loads. Just 2 days ago, I grabbed a load for our dry van from Bend, Oregon to Prescott Valley, Arizona. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. But basically, that lane usually pays less than $2 per mile. I got it for easily, I didn't have to negotiate that much. I got it for $2.50 per mile with deadhead. And yeah, it was a one pick, one drop, nothing crazy. Now, in terms of the East Coast, Pennsylvania is full of freight. There's so many loads on the load board, but it still remains true that all those loads are junk loads. They just do not pay well. I don't know what is going on. Maybe someone can enlighten me. Why is it that Pennsylvania has so many loads and they're all so crap? I mean, if you look at the spot market, it looks like there are less trucks than loads. So what is going on? And on top of it, the East Coast has these ridiculous pickup and delivery times. This is just something that I have noticed. Now, another area that is becoming better is the Midwest, Illinois, Missouri, Wisconsin. Those are areas that are becoming pretty good, both for dry vans and reefers, more so reefers though. I don't know about flatbeds because I do not work with flatbeds. Now let's talk about Texas, my favorite state. Even though I have never been there, I could kick myself. But Texas is unfortunately still down when it comes to loads. Another thing I realized is that our average deadhead has decreased since August. Now in August, our deadhead was on average 114 miles. And now it's 73 miles, so that's pretty good. Anyway, if you're interested on seeing an analysis of what will happen for the rest of 2022, I actually released a video on that a couple of days back. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say about the market in September. Did it get better for you? Is it the same? Did it get worse? But other than that, I'll see you guys in the next video.